Hi and welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bob Laliberte, Senior Analyst for ESG covering networking, and I'm joined today by my colleague Nick Rouda, our Senior Analyst covering big data. So Nick, I thought maybe in this session we would talk about the intersection of big data and networking from perspective of IT operations and how IT teams are more effectively leveraging the concept of big data to better manage and operate their infrastructure.
Yeah, I refer to these as IT selfies when they put themselves under the camera and see where they're delivering, where they're failing. And big data is becoming increasingly a popular tool to do that. In fact, it was top of the list. 60% of our respondents in a recent study came back and said that they wanted to better understand their IT operations and use analytics, look at log data, look at machine-to-machine data, capture all that information, all that activity that goes on in a large IT environment. You've seen a lot of that. I mean, you work with a lot of networking companies that want to understand what's happening on the networks.
Absolutely. I think this is, this is something that we're clearly seeing a lot more of in the IT spending survey that we did this year. We found that about a quarter of the respondents wanted to have data analytics in the networking is going to be one of the areas of significant spend for them this year. So we're clearly seeing organizations that realize that there's a lot of information that can be gathered from the network so that they can more effectively manage that environment. So what we're seeing is those organizations making investments in tools that give them that granular insight into the networking traffic, which then in turn it becomes a big data issue because there's a lot of data going across that network. So it really, that analytics capability, being able to pull that data out and be able to basically sort through it and find the meaningful things that they want. For instance, having that granular data might even be able to determine what applications organizations are looking at and individuals within the organization. And so with all the BYOD and everything else that's going on, being able to, instead of just say, shutting off port 80 and restricting all internet access, they can get at a much granular level, understand who's looking at what, and be able to restrict that on a per application basis, for instance. So for an operations, right, your network's going to be a lot more efficient if half your company isn't watching March Madness or the Summer Olympics, right, or something like that, or watching useless YouTube videos. Being able to really hone down and be able to ensure that the mission critical apps are getting the network bandwidth that they need and not maybe the recreational traffic that occasionally from time to time hits the network. So we're seeing certainly those areas.
Yeah, it's definitely a big data problem. I mean, you're seeing more volume and more variety of traffic on business networks, but you're also seeing a lot more data and more sources of information on what's happening in the environment. You're not just looking at the routers or the switches. You can now correlate across a whole range of things. Bring security into the mix too if you want. Look at the impact on servers or application response time. And to do this looking at any one component isn't going to be very efficient. So you need to be able to take the multiple data sources, integrate them, spot the nuanced, detailed patterns, and that's how you're going to come up with the real insights into cause and effect, and not just historically, but live troubleshooting or even predictive. Let's do some advanced planning. Let's better understand what do we need to change about our networks in the future, how our traffic patterns going to emerge and evolve. If we bring new applications online, if we decide to move something to a cloud location or consolidate data centers, all these have a big impact. And it's not a single function impact. So really getting the holistic view, that's where big data I think has a lot to offer for operations analytics.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, again, it's all in the effort to make them more efficient. And I think there's a lot of organizations, as there's more pressure on the business unit to deliver IT more efficiently and effectively, having that insight, really it's taking that data that's coming off the network and translating it into actionable information, right? So leveraging those concepts of big data to filter, sort, identify, correlate, and actually give you data that you can use to be actually smarter about how your network is operating and enabling those mission critical apps, maybe your voice and video and collaboration apps, et cetera, that need to be going over it versus ones that aren't as relevant.
Yeah, and I see a lot of networking companies say, well, we've been doing this for a while, but I think a lot of their technologies underneath are changing. I think a lot of the way they position themselves to IT departments are changing. I also see more people taking it as an interdisciplinary approach again, looking at servers, storage, networking, security, analytics all together, and that has implications for what you can discover by collaborating. It also has implications for how important it is that you have all this information in one single point of truth as you try and troubleshoot and understand issues that are affecting the enterprise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's clearly going to be an area that organizations, as we said, already are investing in today. But I think moving forward, this is going to become an even bigger role, as you said, not just within the network, but across all of the domains as well.
Yep, definitely.
Absolutely. Great. Well, Nick, thanks again. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you next time.